If the Miami Heat had the benefit of hindsight, they surely wouldn't have pulled the trigger on the Terry Rozier trade. Not only are they set to give a first-round pick in 2027 or 2028 to the Charlotte Hornets, but they can't even extract some value out of the point guard at the moment. According to Ethan Skolnick of the Five on the Floor podcast, the Heat have been shopping Rozier around the league for just about anything. Unfortunately for them, no one has been willing to bring in the former Hornets floor general. It wouldn't even be surprising if other teams are asking for a second-round pick to take him off Miami's hands. It appears there isn't much confidence that Rozier can turn things around and experience even a bit of career resurgence at 31 years old. It has been quite a drop-off for him, as it hasn't been that long since he was consistently putting up nearly 20.0 points per game in Charlotte. He was on pace to record a career high in scoring in the first half of the 2023-24 campaign, averaging 23.2 points per contest in his final 30 appearances as a Hornet. That was evidently enough for Miami to believe Rozier was the missing piece in its attempt to return to the finals. The Hornets were able to capitalize on the Heat's interest and rid themselves of a headache that the veteran guard has become. In his defense, he played decently shortly after he arrived at South Beach. However, a neck injury prevented him from finishing the 2023-24 regular season and suiting up in the playoffs. Then, the former first-round pick's comeback attempt last season didn't go as planned, with Heat coach Erik Spoelstra eventually taking him out of the starting lineup. Hornets are likely monitoring the Heat-Rozier drama. Charlotte might be checking out what's happening with the Heat regarding Rozier. It wouldn't be out of a desire to acquire him again, though, even after he admitted to missing Buzz City earlier this year. Rather, the Hornets are probably monitoring where the draft selection Miami owes them will end up. The vet's inflated salary for the 2025-26 campaign has already caused the Heat to give up on a rotation player for essentially nothing. Recently, they shipped out Haywood Highsmith to duck the luxury tax line, and all they got in the process was a heavily protected second-round pick. Dealing for Rozier has undoubtedly set Miami back, and while the Hornets wouldn't want to wish ill on another team, they are probably hoping that the Heat will struggle in the following years so that they receive a lottery selection in 2028. When the Miami Heat traded Jimmy Butler for Andrew Wiggins, it was long overdue. After a disgruntled regular season, Butler's trade demand was granted ahead of last year's trade deadline. Now, the reason for the long-awaited trade has reportedly been revealed, and it involves Jimmy's agent. The Heat also reportedly weren't in a position to receive significant draft capital in a deal for Butler heading into last season, per the Miami Herald's Barry Jackson. Not proactively trading Butler before last season. A team source insists that there was no indication that Miami could have received more than one first-round pick, or a superior package, than what it ultimately obtained from the five-team trade, Andrew Wiggins, Anderson, Mitchell, and a 2025 first-round pick, Jackson said. The teams that inquired about Butler last summer, when Miami wasn't trying to trade him, never discussed offering multiple first-round picks. One of the teams that expressed interest in trading for Butler, including the Warriors, last summer was the New York Knicks. Though the Knicks reportedly had interest, there was never a firm offer, the source said. And though the Warriors had interest last summer, the source said Golden State never presented a proposal that included multiple first-round picks, Jackson reported. Could the Heat have snagged 2 first-round picks if it had actively shopped him last summer? It's impossible to know. Another source revealed that a few teams were lining up to strike a deal for Butler. However, the Heat were 1 year too late when they could have struck a better packaged deal in 2023. As one Western Conference source said, for all of Butler's greatness, he's an acquired taste with a limited market. The Heat assuredly could have acquired a better package if Butler had been dealt after the Heat's 2023 finals run, but Miami never considered that, and understandably so, Jackson added. The Heat perhaps could have acquired more if he had been traded before the 2024 trade deadline, but that's speculative. Jimmy Butler's agent breaks promise with Heat. When Jimmy Butler and the Warriors face the Heat, it'll undoubtedly be a must-see matchup in 2025-26. After the Heat were unable to strike a Butler deal before the start of last season, Butler's agent promised the Heat his client would be a professional about the potential deal. A Heat source said Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, promised Miami that Butler would comport himself well last season and would never complain about not getting a contract extension, Jackson reported. That proved to be untrue, leaving the Heat without any bargaining position at the trade deadline. The Heat were better off dealing with Butler directly instead of trusting the word of his agent. It's been a successful offseason for the Miami Heat. Pat Riley has added a potential star of the future in Kasparas Giacchionis and a high-level contributor in Norman Powell. He also re-signed Davion Mitchell to a new deal. Nevertheless, there are still some concerns regarding the overall depth at the point guard position. That's why Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report believes the Heat could potentially rescue Russel Westbrook from free agency. The 2017 MVP is currently an unrestricted free agent, having left the Denver Nuggets at the end of last season. And while Westbrook isn't the force of nature he once was, he's still a reliable ball handler, playmaker, and interior scorer. The Miami Heat's point guard rotation is largely populated by combo or shooting guards, Bailey wrote. Right now, it looks like Tyler Herro could be the starter at the one. Having a real, veteran point guard on the roster could stabilize a second unit that figures to include lots of younger talents like Jamie Jaquez Jr., Nikola Jovic, and Davion Mitchell. In lineups with Herro and Norman Powell, Westbrook's ability to drag defenders to the paint as a driver could create precious extra time for those shooters outside, too. Westbrook played in 75 games last season, averaging 13.3 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 6.1 assists per game. Miami could certainly use that type of production, especially from a player coming off the bench. Riley isn't against adding an aging player. During a recent news conference, Riley refused to rule out the idea of adding a veteran talent to the Heat's roster. I think an aging great player, who may not be able to carry a team together, can rise to the occasion in the playoffs, Riley said. I still think that an aging player can play. Look at LeBron James. Look at these players. It's incredible. Players like LeBron and others who have played into their mid to late 30s and produced at a high level can help teams win championships. You have to pick out the right one, but I'm not against that, no. Westbrook will be entering his age 36 season in the coming months. He will turn 37 before the 2026 postseason ends. However, as Riley has shown on multiple occasions, age won't be a defining factor in his decision whether to sign a player or not. Norman Powell eyeing big role with Miami. During a recent appearance on Sirius XM NBA radio, Powell discussed the opportunity he has with the Heat next season. I'm really excited about the opportunity that's in front of me, Powell said. I think it's a clear opportunity that I've been fighting for and talking about. I talked about all last year about having the opportunity to be a focal point every single night, not just a high-value contributing role player, but really seeing myself and stepping into a role that I've always wanted. Regardless of whether Westbrook joins the Heat this summer, Powell will find himself in a key role for Miami, especially in terms of offense. His perimeter scoring, ability to pressure the rim, and tertiary playmaking will all be huge additions to Eric Spoelstra's rotation. Of course, adding a high-level table setter is never a bad thing, and that's where Westbrook could come into the equation.